On February 28, 2026, the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East fractured in a way the world hasn't seen in decades. In an unprecedented, coordinated campaign dubbed Operation Epic Fury, the United States and Israel launched massive military strikes deep into Iranian territory, the stated goal: to dismantle Iran's nuclear program, neutralize its military capabilities, and force a sudden regime change. But Iran didn't just absorb the blow. Within hours, waves of ballistic missiles were lighting up the skies over Israel and targeting U.S. military bases across the Gulf. How did a simmering shadow war suddenly erupt into a massive regional conflict overnight? And what happens next? Let's break down the exact timeline of the 2026 crisis. To understand today, we have to look back at the summer of 2025. A brutal 12-day war between Israel and Iran ended in a fragile ceasefire. It was a band-aid on a bullet wound. Fast forward to January 2026. The Iranian economy was buckling, leading to massive anti-government protests across major cities, prompting sudden internet blackouts. Sensing a shifting tide, U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu began signaling that the era of containment was over. Diplomacy made one final stand. In early February, high-stakes nuclear negotiations were held in Oman and later Geneva. But just days before the strikes, talks broke down completely. The diplomatic window slammed shut, and the military one blew wide open. The morning of February 28 brought an operation completely different from anything we'd seen before. This wasn't a limited, targeted warning. Israeli jets and U.S. forces struck hundreds of targets across at least 14 Iranian cities. They didn't just aim for nuclear facilities in places like Natanz and Fordow. They aimed directly at the top of the command chain, launching decapitation strikes targeting the secured compounds of Iran's supreme leader and other top military figures. The goal was clear: collapse the regime from the inside out, while obliterating its defenses from above. But the Iranian military had prepared for this exact scenario. Surviving command elements immediately authorized a massive counterattack. Israelis were forced into bomb shelters as wave after wave of Iranian ballistic missiles rained down. But the retaliation didn't stop at Israel's borders. Pushing past previous red lines, Iran directly targeted U.S. military installations housing the Navy's 5th Fleet in Bahrain, as well as bases in Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE. Within hours, the airspace across the entire Middle East was closed. The localized conflict had officially consumed the region. As the dust settles and the initial waves have strikes, the world is holding its breath. The US and Israel have heavily degraded Iran's infrastructure, but Iran has proven it can still project devastating force across the region. Will this lead to the collapse of the Iranian government, as Washington and Tel Aviv hope? Or will it drag the United States into a prolonged, multi-front war in the Middle East? The only certainty right now is that the old rules of the Middle East no longer apply.